I need a movie clap thing.
Okay. Some of you enjoy listening to our show on a Google Home, but those things are turning into enough bricks to build a house. Sheesh. This is the Android Police Podcast.
It's Monday, January 27th. Welcome. Along with Cody Toombs, I'm Corbin Davenport. Jules would like to write our name drops like this, but his colleagues think it's very pretentious and only exists on the 34th consecutive hour of Sports Center. What the fuck is that, Jules? What am I reading? What? I should have read that before I started talking. That makes no sense.
See, this is what I said. He does this to me too. Anyway,
Jules could literally write anything there and I'd say it. There could be like some explicatives and racial slurs and I wouldn't notice until I'm halfway through the sentence.
Explicatives.
It's
expletives, dude.
Expletive, yeah.
But yeah, dude, I am so gonna mess with you on that one in the future. Anyway, so
Better not.
it's only gonna happen.
I'm gonna quit.
No. So wow.
So the only thing more screwed up than us today are Google Homes.
You
like that?
Nice transition. I had a different one, but I like that one more.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of Google Homes are dying. If your home is on the preview channel, which you can, I think you have to enter it from the Google Home app. It's like a separate software channel. The Chromecasts have those too. But if you're on that, you might want to leave unless you want to get an update that soft bricks your Google Home. So there's been a lot of issues with homes on the preview channel where their lights are flashing and they're not recognizing voice commands, just generally not working since around last week. So if your home is one of the ones affected, you'll probably have to factory reset or hold the microphone button or unplug it and replug it in, which of course is the general fix for anything. Maybe hit it to like an old TV. That might do something as well.
Yeah. However, it is notable that doing any of these things can also permanently brick it, apparently. The specific symptoms are a little weird. So when this update happens and your Google Home restarts first, what'll end up happening is it'll start with flashing the light, the orange little LED notification light on the back. That'll start flashing and it just won't respond to the activation phrase. But it will still show up in your Google Home app. It'll still technically be on the network, all that stuff. And if you try fixing it, there's a chance it'll start working again properly. And there's a chance that it'll just decide to say goodbye and drift off into that sweet good night. At which point, in theory, we're probably waiting on Google to just turn around and start replacing them, I guess.
You'd hope, but that might be difficult if you didn't buy yours from Google.
Well, so last year there was a similar issue to this, and Google was basically saying, look, we don't care about warranty status. We don't care about any of that stuff. We'll just replace any of them that were affected by this bad update. And I mean, it seems likely they would do that again. When a company bricks a device kind of their own, we'll just say by their own error. It's usually kind of appropriate to fix anything that was shut down that way. It would make sense to do it again here, but Google hasn't actually said anything yet. So basically, we're kind of waiting on them to kind of come out with an answer of some kind to this.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for your homes stopping to work. So yeah, not a great way to start your week, probably, with your smart speaker spontaneously dying.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it also starts begging the question: how much longer how long in general is Google going to support the Google Homes, especially if if they've got some rate of failure on this where they're just going to ship something and unintentionally brick them, they
Yeah.
might they might have to start counting in like a basically a shutdown point where they don't want to take that risk anymore.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how much longer it'll be until the first couple home devices are unsupported, like the Sonos speakers.
Yeah.
Because the original Google Home was released in 2016, so we're up to almost 4 years from that because it was late 2016.
Yeah, which is still, I mean, that's still a, relatively short support cycle so far. That's not asking too much, but and considering these are devices that honestly should probably be able to continue working for several more years, it
Yeah,
it would
like
be
a
wrong to kill support too early, but at the same time, I could kind of see how they might want to change how they handle them.
yeah. Oh, well, I know. Google does have a pretty good track record with this because the original Chromecast, I don't. It's. I think they just stopped updating it last year, and that was released in I want to say 2013, somewhere around there. But
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, so I don't think we need to worry too much yet, but something you always have to be aware of with smart home products. And
Yeah.
speaking of things being people being upset,
Yes. So Samsung hasn't technically done anything wrong here, at least not yet. But people are not terribly thrilled. EVLeaks has posted a hint, uh, or rather, actually, I guess it's a preview of the promotion to come that promises free Galaxy Buds Plus for every pre-order of the S20 Plus and S20 Ultra. However, it doesn't say anything about the S20 itself. I guess you could say the base model.
mhm.
So this basically means that the Galaxy Bud, sorry, the Galaxy Buds Plus will not be coming in the box with any of these phones, but there'll be a pre-order perk. So the thing is, people are kind of pissed about this. This basically means that if you're picking up the S20 itself, you have no other perks. Apparently, there will be some buds in the box, but these are just, I believe, wired buds, USB-C
um,
wired buds.
I don't know if we know that for sure yet. That's just what Samsung's done in the past. They've thrown in
Oh, okay.
some USB-C AKG earbuds in. So who knows if they'll do that this year?
Yeah, this is either way, this has drawn a little bit of controversy on Twitter. People are kind of debating whether or not this is a good idea. Um and Max Weinbach of XDA basically kind of called this out, and I agree with him. Uh Frankly, if you include too many perks, whether pre-order or not, it's going to raise the price of devices. And the S20 is already going to be fairly pricey. It's obviously still the base model and meant to be cheaper. And you look at the S20 Ultra, and the expected price on this is going to be upwards of $1,500. So, at this point, you know, maybe we don't need to include too many things, especially if not everyone is going to be using them.
I just think this whole thing's really silly. I think it's silly. We're at the point where um, I'm sorry, it's hard to articulate this, but like we shouldn't be at the point where smartphones are so limited out of the box that we have to include things to get the base functionality out of them, if that makes sense. Like this could all be solved by just including or not just having the headphone jack. That's it. That's really simple. But no, because we don't have a headphone jack, we now have to switch to expensive Bluetooth audio that doesn't ever work as well. And now we're upset that we don't get our Bluetooth earbuds with our $1,000 phone.
Well, or USB-C.
Yeah,
And
and if Samsung is including USB headphones in the box, I don't think there's really an issue with this. Like I don't think did Apple ever include AirPods with iPhones?
no.
Yeah, I don't think they did. So
No,
I
Apple
don't.
has 100% always kept AirPods as a separate purchase.
Yeah.
No
So
pre-order, no nothing.
yeah. So I think this whole situation is kind of silly, but I don't. Yeah, I don't really get the outrage. This Samsung is getting to the point where the phones always cost too much money at launch, so they have to justify that launch price with something extra. And then if you can wait 3 to 6 months, then you can get the phone at a much better price and use that money you're saved to go towards earbuds or whatever else you might want.
Yeah. So apparently, not that this is quite on the same topic, but it's definitely related. Max Weinbach of XCA has also pointed out that the S20 Ultra will include a 25-watt charger, and this is one spot where I know this isn't technically what our topic is, but I think it's worth noting. Honestly, I think any phone that supports fast charging, it should include the fast charger in the box.
Yes, that always bugs me. I think Motorola is guilty of this a lot. Um, I
Yeah.
I don't know where Samsung is at with this. I don't know how many of their phones have come with a fast charger, but it's like one of the deadly sins of smartphone manufacturers, where you built in fast charging support and then still ship like the little puny 5 watt charger in the box.
Exactly.
I feel like at that point, I feel like you shouldn't even include a charger, and because it's just e-waste at that point. Like, oh boy, I get to throw another 5 watt USB charger on the pile.
Well, maybe for people like us, I think a lot of people don't
I
even
don't.
realize that it's not a fast charger. They just buy it,
Yeah,
use it, and keep going. But yeah, this is one of those things. You shouldn't include something in the box that people are either going to define as a bad experience to have it, or they're going to throw it away and upgrade to something better almost immediately.
which is
Uh,
90% of earbuds that come with phones.
Yes, that's the other thing I was about to
I
circle back
haven't, I
to.
haven't, I've never tried the earbuds that come with Samsung phones, so I can't talk about those. But I've heard those are at least okay.
Yeah. But at this point, the strategy should be how can we prevent e-waste, and just generally how can they lower the cost of what they're shipping? Because to be perfectly honest, I would be really happy if phones shipped with just a USB-C cable, the charging brick, and the phone itself. That
Yeah,
would
and
be
it
good enough for
and
me.
in that's what but Samsung has to keep raising prices, and they have to keep justifying those raising prices by including more stuff in the box that they can cheaply manufacture.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think Apple had the right idea a while ago when they started. For a while, they were shipping iPods with just the iPod in them,
Yeah.
no other cables or chargers, anything, and it was a super small box, so it was, you know, supposedly less taxing on the environment because you could ship, more of them in smaller vehicles. But yeah, that it doesn't seem like we're going that way. We got to keep putting more stuff in the box.
Yeah. And speaking of putting unusual things in the box,
Oh.
it's a weird transition, but I figured I'd give that one to you.
Yeah. So Motorola might be working on a phone with a stylus, which is kind of interesting because they haven't done that in a very, like, with any of their Android phones, as far as I can remember. Um, Again, EV Leaks, Evan Blast posted on Twitter a image of a Motorola phone with a stylus, and he didn't mention the name of the phone or how much it would cost or anything like that. It was just the picture, so we don't have a lot to go on here. But the stylus does have that sort of rounded tip that looks like it goes into the phone, just like a Galaxy Note. So presumably the stylus would be stored in the phone. We don't know if this is like a high-end phone, like is this a new Moto Z device, or is this a mid-range phone? It looks a lot like the Motorola One Action that came out last year, so I'm guessing it's a mid-range phone. Um, partially because Motorola doesn't really make high-end phones anymore. But anyway, And we don't know if this would be like a passive stylus, like LG has on its budget stylo phones, or would this be like a fully active stylus, um, similar to that Samsung has on their Galaxy Notes, and also what you get from like a Surface tablet. So if it's the latter, that could be really interesting to get on a mid-range phone. And also, it remains to be seen if Motorola would build all the cool stylus software features that Samsung has. It's like Samsung even has stuff where like you can uh, clip a screenshot with the stylus and even record stuff all using the pen. And of course, I think last year they tried to add a couple more things to it where like you can like take a picture by pressing the button on the stylus. I don't see a button on this one, but like Motorola could still do some stuff like that. Um, so that'd be interesting to see if Motorola, because again they haven't really done that, and there's still not a whole lot of competition for phones with styluses. It's really just the Galaxy Note and then LG's budget lineup, at least in the U.S. I'm not sure if maybe there are other options in India and other regions like that.
Yeah. So, have you ever used a phone with an active stylus? Because honestly, I liked it on the Galaxy Notes. I was really happy with it. I didn't use it a lot, but when I did have reasons to use it, it was great.
I haven't. I've only used it with in one of the older Surface tablets and a Windows laptop I had a while back. But yeah, no, when they work, it is really fun.
Yeah, well, and it's such a good thing in like cold environments. If if you're wearing gloves or
Yeah,
it just in general, like the cold causes your hand to be a little bit less responsive with the screen. A stylus is fantastic in situations like that. It's
yeah,
also obviously good if you're just trying to do anything precision, drawing, anything like that.
yeah.
Um,
If you're playing Bridge Constructor,
yeah, exactly. Um, but I'd like to see Motorola do this, but at the same time, it's a big commitment to start doing software and features related to a stylus. So I'm not sure that this is the company I expect to do a good job on something like this.
uh, yeah. I mean, Motorola software features are usually okay. The problem is just that they don't update their phones ever, or when they do, it's very slow. Um, like I think only a handful of their phones are on Android 10 already, and I know at least one of those is like the early rollouts in Brazil. So it's going to be another couple months before that comes to the U.S.
Yeah. So one thing that I do notice from the picture is the stylus does not seem to have a button on it. And
Right.
that could just be an issue where it's not showing, but I think if this was going to be a press render, they're going to include a button if there's a button. So that to me is a little bit of a sign that this may not be an active stylus.
I would put money down. This is a passive stylus. I don't think they'd put an active on a presumably a budget phone.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they would. I'd be very interested in that, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, and obviously in order to do an active stylus, they would have to commit to uh including the digitizer or getting the technology that they could include with the screen digitizer. That way you can actually use an active stylus with it. And again, this all seems like a lot for Motorola. They don't, it just seems like Motorola is kind of out of that side of the business, but you never know. I mean, it's interesting because this is something we wouldn't expect from Motorola.
Yeah. And yeah, again, I'd be interested to see it. There's not a whole lot of competition. So, maybe they can bring something cool to the table. And speaking of something cool,
I was going to interject and say, and another thing that we don't expect from Motorola is being live 4 times a week on Twitch, as the Android Police podcast is. But we can't do that without your support. And the best way to support us is by subscribing to us on Twitch. All you have to do is go to our Twitch page at twitch.tv/Android Police and look for the subscribe button up at the top right corner. Uh, basically, as a subscriber, you get access to the special Rhine emoji, which shows him in a state of utter bliss and joy. You also gain free entries into the Android Police giveaways. We are running one right now, if I recall. And subscriptions start at $5 a month. Or if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you gain a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. You just have to drop by and manually resubscribe, and that keeps us flush with subscriptions, and we do appreciate it. It actually does really help. You can also help us out by throwing a few bits our way. That's a special currency that exists within Twitch. We'll just let you look up how that works. And of course, you can also drop by androidpolice.com and look for the donate button. These things all help us, and we greatly appreciate them. And with that, we've done our shill. So thank you, and back to the show.
Back to the show.
And so Android is going to be bringing to us something new, something we've all been wanting in some way, shape, or form. That is basically a clone of Apple's AirDrop feature. Apparently, this is going to be called nearby sharing, and it's basically a file sharing system similar to the Android Beam feature that existed for quite a while, but apparently this doesn't have any reliance on NFC. I find it actually weird it can't use NFC to start a connection, but it looks like this feature is going to be deployed through Play Services. So everyone, well, I would say everyone will get an update to Play Services, but chances are you actually already have this update installed. It's just not a feature that has gone live yet, and who knows, it's probably still in testing for a while until they are ready to launch it. But basically, what it allows you to do is look for nearby devices that are basically kind of flagging themselves as willing and ready to accept files. You pick those from your list, and you can just start sending files. This can be anything from photos to really, really huge downloads.
Yeah. So it's worth noting we've seen this a couple times before because it was I know someone at XDA got it activated a long time ago, but that was before it was called nearby sharing, and it was really basic at the time. I'm not sure if it even worked. But
it
now
worked partially.
Okay, but yeah, so now it's got a new name. It looks more complete. It looks like we're closer to the finish line, and yeah, I mean, again, this is something that Android should have had a long time ago. It's weird it took this long. I hope that because it's part of Play Services, it shows up in most recent Android versions. Again, we don't presumably it would work fine on any recent version of Android, but there might be some low system level stuff that has to be plugged into. But yeah, no, I can't wait to share memes with other people within a 5-foot range.
Well, this appears to be using Wi-Fi Direct, so I would assume this should work across a pretty large room.
Yeah, and because it's Play Services, whenever it's done rolling out, it should reach like 99% of Android devices. The folks with gingerbread will have to sit out, unfortunately, but I think Play Services works with everything up to like Jelly Bean at this point. So
I believe it's Jelly Bean and after. I was just trying to think when Wi-Fi Direct was technically added to Android, because I bet that's probably their cutoff point.
yeah,
but either way, it's pretty old. This should work on almost everything.
Yeah, but yeah, we don't know what the distribution numbers are like with Android these days. So hopefully it'll show up on pretty much everything.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's worth noting that this is a feature that already existed in the Files app that Google distributes on the Play Store, but most people, for pretty good a reason, don't actually have that app installed. It's something that just isn't necessary to most people.
I think it's only pre-installed on Android Go phones, if I remember.
I think so, yeah. So if you live in countries like India, you likely already have that app, but Most people in the US, most of the UK, any surrounding areas, probably not seeing that
Yeah.
app.
Yeah. It's not part of the Google package that the company makes you install on new Android phones.
Yeah, I don't think it's even advised or recommended. But to be fair, it is a quick download. It only takes about, I don't know, 5-6
Yeah.
seconds, let's say.
It's a great little app. I use it all the time to clean up the cruft on that app sleeve across my phone's file system.
And speaking of things that only take about 6 seconds, oh, come on. I thought you were going to pick that one up.
That was good. That was a good one.
Uh, things that only take about 6 seconds. You may have heard of them. But they once existed in the form of Vine. Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
handing it to you.
Okay. All right. Are you done now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So everyone remembers Vine, that great little platform that only allowed you to create 6-second videos, and it sort of created this subculture of completely ridiculous videos that were short in length. And then Twitter bought Vine and then couldn't figure out a way how to monetize 6-second videos, which, in fairness, I understand. I don't think you'd sit through an ad to watch a 6-second video. So Twitter shut it down a while ago, and the original co-founder of Vine started working on a sort of a spiritual successor a few years ago, and now it's live for Android and iOS, and it's called Byte, and it's pretty much just a little bit of a modern take on Vine. So 6-second videos. The app looks pretty clean. Again, there's a whole social aspect built into the app, so it's not relying on Twitter to sort of send these back and forth. It's its own little self-contained network. And yeah, if you liked Vine, you'll probably like this. It remains to be seen if this will get sort of the same cult following that Vine did, or maybe not cult following is the right word, but the same culture that Vine had, where it was this place where a bunch of people created these pretty unique videos. Because right now TikTok sort of has that market completely. So I don't know if TikTok will start to bleed people to Byte, or if most people just stay on that platform. Who knows? It's pretty early days, and it takes a long time to build a platform. But I'm also interested to see what if this can even be self-sustaining in the long term. They talked about sharing, like in the future there'll be some kind of way you can support creators, and then a limited part of that goes to help keep the service running, kind of like Patreon, I guess. Maybe that will do it, but again, this still faces the same problem that Twitter had 5 years ago, where they couldn't figure out how to make money with an app like this.
Well, as some people have pointed out in the past, I think a 6-second ad actually could be fairly successful. As if they could get companies to willingly do 6-second ads. And there is possibility that maybe they could work out branding deals and things like that. Sort of the same, like sort of maybe inspired somewhat by the way that Instagram has really brought out like branding deals and popular channels.
Instagram ads should not be a model for anyone.
Well, sorry, I don't really want to reference Instagram ads. Those are a mess.
Yes,
I'm
those are
thinking more
terrible.
in the way that individual channels have partnered up with branding deals. If the service could get their hands involved in kind of organizing that, I could see that also being a successful route.
Yeah.
The problem at this point, I think, and you kind of just hit it, where are people going to be? A lot of people saw it, like after Vine shut down, most of those people either chose to go over to YouTube where there was a potential to make actual money,
Yeah.
or they moved over to TikTok where, they just kept having fun. And I don't see people moving back. And I guess a few people actually did kind of pick up Instagram also once Instagram launched their short videos and story features. But I feel like everybody's already picked new homes. Vine just is in this unfortunate place where, or sorry, I keep saying Vine. I mean Byte. Byte is in this bad place where I don't know that people are really going to have a reason to come back now.
Yeah. So again, like I don't want to poo-poo on it too hard because again I'm interested to see if it gains the same sort of culture that Vine did, which was I think some of the best online videos of our generation came from Vine. So I'd love to see that replicated again. And I will say Byte doesn't quite creep me out as much as TikTok does, which already kind of has a history of extreme data mining, especially on children. So, you know,
Well, and
I'm
TikTok has been, uh, if I remember correctly, TikTok was banned in India, was it? I
I
believe it
don't
was banned
remember.
somewhere.
I do know there were a couple stories recently that like various branches of the U.S. government banned people from using TikTok because again, it's owned. I don't know if it's owned by Chinese investor or a Chinese company, but there's some relation there. I think they were looking to try to sell off TikTok so they wouldn't have to deal with the regulatory mess anymore. But yeah, I'd I'd be down for someone to swoop in and take their market.
Okay, so thanks to Jules, it is confirmed. Yes, TikTok was banned in India, and if I remember correctly, it had nothing to do with privacy concerns. It was actually just because kids were using it too much in schools, and apparently that was a reason that they felt it should just not be there anymore.
Yes, the government has to be your helicopter parent.
Which,
Just
wow,
like the handful of countries that banned PUBG when that was at its
yeah.
peak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is worth noting, TikTok was later unbanned from India, and I believe it was banned in a couple of other places and similarly unbanned later, but still, this is it has not done particularly well in terms of relationships.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Byte could who knows, maybe Byte will actually stand a chance of gaining some people if TikTok keeps having we'll just say PR issues.
I will say everyone should just use Mastodon. You don't have to worry about that shutting down in 2 years because it's open source.
So, just
Join
as
Mastodon.
a quick closing comment, I just have to say, did the co-founder of Vine not have like a non-compete clause at some point? Was this just like a thing that nobody thought, "Hey, you can never do this again. We'll just buy it," and no one would ever think to go start up the exact same product a few years later.
Yeah, that'd be a good question. I imagine. Oh, I imagine Twitter probably wouldn't care much anyway because
Fair.
yeah, they they didn't see a way to make money from it, and that's of course what they need to do as a public company. But yeah, maybe Twitter will buy it again, and they'll the cycle will just keep continuing.
Yes, yeah, oh god, that'd be hilarious. But anyway, on to things that should just bring you pure joy, I suppose. Gboard has created a new form of sticker, and this is basically taking the sticker generation paradigm to its craziest and possibly best limit. What it'll do now is if you start typing emoji, it will give you suggestions that take the emoji you've already typed and try to mix them together, basically taking elements of multiple emoji and producing a sticker out of them. Now, the beauty of this is you can get facial expressions that would not otherwise have been, I guess, built into the emoji. So you could get things like a ghost that has a frowny face or a smiley face, maybe hearts for eyes, things like that. You could have an angry looking heart, for example, all kinds of things like that. So apparently, it looks like it's just taking the like kind of deconstructed assets from each of the emoji and merging them together, I guess, automatically. It's either that or this is like a massive sticker pack. It's not really clear, but I think it's got to be the first.
I don't know. But yeah, it does seem like they're sort of taking like sort of like the foreground of one emoji, like the stuff that's on top, the facial expressions, and then putting that on the background of another. So who knows? But the end result is that it's really fun. I'll definitely have to try this in presumably a few months when it rolls out to me, because I always seem to get these things last.
Yeah, very possibly. But it is something that apparently you have a better chance of getting it enabled apparently if you join the preview program or the beta program for Gboard. But in general, it looks like a really neat idea. It's cool stickers. What gets me is a few of these look like they have to have been customized in some way. They're not just a merger of facial expressions, but well, I don't know. You'd have to look at them and basically hit our article. There are a few samples in there that show kind of what I'm saying. Some of these just look like they have to have been customized.
If these are all manual, can you imagine being the person assigned that at Google? Where it's like, hey, we've got 900 emojis, and we need those multiplied by 2, and we need those done in 2 weeks. Thank you.
I think you mean squared, but yeah. This would definitely be one hell of a job for an intern.
And then like every time the Unicode standard gets updated with like 300 new icons.
Yeah, fortunately, this does only seem to work with faces, so it's all about the expressions. And
so I can't put like the U.S. flag on top of a heart or something like that.
You cannot make your house smile.
What's even the point then?
I know. I mean, I have always wanted to walk down a frowny face street.
Can I put like the spoon emoji on like the red square?
To be fair, actually, I would love a red spoon. That would be kind of awesome.
I need multicolored spoons. I don't know how Android doesn't have this already.
And suddenly, I'm legitimately curious, and I almost want to try this right now, but I won't. I'm curious if it will take all of the skin tone emoji and apply the same things with those. So could you have, obviously like a white person, an Asian person, and a black person? Could you apply the expressions based on those? I'm just curious. That would be a neat trick if they got it.
Man, I really want this with animals. That's disappointing. I just thought of that. I can't do like a frowny face panda or something. That's terrible.
A frowny face panda. What do you have against pandas, dude? They should be smiling all the time.
You're right. They probably are. They're smiling because they're not extinct yet.
Yeah. Oh wow. That went that went dark. Anyway. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, well, I was just getting. It's fine. I couldn't think of something else to say.
Okay.
Jules, edit this out so I don't sound like such a dumbass, please. Thank you.
Oh, come on. It's way too late for us now.
Jules, edit out the whole podcast and replace me with someone who can speak coherent sentences. Also, Jules, if you could edit in like the X-Men theme somewhere in here, I bet that would spice things up. Thank you, Jules. Just edit the podcast until it turns into something. Jules just said copyright your ass in the Hangouts chat. Yeah, okay. Who cares about? Well, it's SoundCloud. I don't know how much they enforce that. I feel like you could probably get away with more.
And with that, all the topics we've talked about today, would you like to read this, sir?
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Jules, edit this. Jules, just keep editing. You're not allowed to stop. All the topics we've talked about today can be found at androidpolice.com/podcast. We're live 4 times a week at twitch.tv/androidpolice. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this show or you want to complain about something we said, or if you just want to tell us how your day's going, you can send an email to podcast@androidpolice.com. On Twitter, I'm at Corbin Davenport. Cody is Cody_TOOMBS. Our producer, Jules Wong, is at Point Jules, and our theme music is by Home. We're back at it with the Q&A live stream starting at 1:30 Pacific on Twitch tomorrow, and then another Android Police podcast on Wednesday. Till then, have a nice day, everyone.